Jacob
That's not
DeGrom,
always
innings
how it
1
works.
through 5. Dominant. Innings 1 through 5 this year, a 1.20 ERA, a 0.28 FIP, a 0.46 WHIP, and a strikeouts per 9 of 14.6. Then you get to the 6th and the 9th. Jacob DeGrom's ERA is 7.71.
Ooh.
With a 6.53 FIP, a 128 WHIP. I mean, the strikeouts are still great. I mean, it's a 12.54 strikeouts per 9. But the home run...
I'd be interested to...
Huh?
Go ahead.
The home run rate, innings 1 through 5, it's 0.65%. Innings 6 through 9, 10%.
Goes up. So I would be curious. This is what I was going to say before you even said that. Is I'd be curious to see what the batting average is on the fastball, because that is, I mean, that's basically the way DeGrom pitches. That's really only the second time he's seeing guys. You know, unless there's some walks in there and shit, because he's dominating to the tune that he is. It's not
the
like
walk rate goes from 1.29% to 5%.
See, so now I want to see from there. I want to see what the frequency of his first pitch rate is off speed as opposed to fastball. Those two numbers right there. The reason I want to know those is fastball command. Are they jumping him early in the at bat? If not, is he going backwards? And if so, is that strike rate down, first pitch strike rate? Because then that would tell me that he's working from behind, and then that would tell me they're jumping the fastball later in the count when he's got to come back in the zone with something. And they've decided that they're just not going to swing at that fucking 94-mile-an-hour slider because they can't hit it anyway. So fuck it, make him throw it for a strike. Oh shit, he's not throwing it for a strike.
Innings 1 through 5, opponent OPS is 309. The 6th inning on, it's 879. And this was crazy too. So innings 1 through 5, he's pitched 45 innings. Innings 6 through 9, he has 9 1/3 innings. But the comparison for total bases, 26, 1 through 5, 22, 6 through 9.
So
It's so weird. It's so weird how there's like innings that just, oh my God, you feel like they just own you for whatever reason. Like I could get through the first 5 and it's the 6th that bites me. And then if I can work my way through that, the 7th and 8th and 9th, like those are, oh God, it's so weird. Like you're just like fucking baseball. Fuck.
But could there be a connection between that and why he's been injured so much? Just kind of like from inning 1, pitching as hard as you can, throwing as hard as you can, and then getting in the later innings and kind of being tired or just not throwing as hard?
I don't, Joey, that's trust me, that's something that I think gets talked about at a bigger level, at a more like, oh God, how do I say it? Like institutionally, it's a conversation that's had, because how are we managing this game? And is Jacob DeGrom best served the way that the game is managed today, doing what he's doing and avoiding the health issues if he's trying to pace himself? If that's where the health issues come into place, where he's trying to pace himself and work through those latter innings, well, is Jacob DeGrom a guy where you're just like, look, the minute we start to see trouble, the minute we start to see any sort of ticks or anything, we fucking get him out of there? Or, is there something to a certain physical makeup just not being able to handle the stress or the power that they're actually able to generate? And, like for Jacob DeGrom, I played with a guy, Brandon McCarthy, who had the same issue. And Mac wasn't throwing 100, but I don't know, maybe just for his skeletal structure, his muscular makeup and everything, maybe he was generating more power and more force than those certain body parts can take.
Torque.
I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, absolutely.
And he got nailed in the head. That also didn't help.
No, that did not help. And it did not help his effort to have a threesome either. He shot a shot though.
What?
He made a joke like like this is McCarthy. He made a fucking like he just got domed up in the head with a comebacker. Had emergency brain surgery. And
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's just Mac. But yeah, that's that. Like I said, that's a conversation across the institution, man. Is like, where we're at physically? I believe we are there physically as human beings. I mean, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but we're at the brink where we're pushing our bodies to do new things. And I don't want to say that we're there. There's going to be breakdowns, but you're going to see plateaus hit, and you're going to just, the track record is what it is.
Let me tell you what I would do if I was a pitching coach. I would say,
fucking tell me right now.
Jacob, you're the best pitcher in the league by far. No one can touch you. Just throw 96 the first inning. 97. Don't even try that hard. So then when you get to 6 and 7 innings, you got a little more in the tank.
So you'd have him sit down and watch video of Justin Verlander?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, this is how Verlander went about it. 93s, 95s early on. Then you start to see a 94, 96. And then it's like, oh, it's the 8th and 9th inning. Guess what you're getting? Now I'm going to start throwing 100. Like, hold the fuck on. This is supposed to go the other way around. Where did this come from? I just don't know that he could physically handle being his own closer, because that's what Justin Verlander quite literally was. He was his own closer. I'm going to shove it up your ass.
Still is.
Like a paste. Yeah, thank you, Jared. Just pacing my way with 95 all the way up your ass. And in innings 7, 8, and 9, it's just a completely different animal. Now you piss me off.
The Mets are obviously aware of this data. I'm sure that they know that there's been a falling off point for DeGrom. Is that going to factor in the postseason? It has to. Like, if you're say it's a 1-0
First
ball
sign of
game.
Trouble?
No, not even. So
first sign of trouble. If you're
no,
a numbers team,
hold on.
I know what you're going to say.
No, if it's a 1-0 ball game, Jacob DeGrom is carving up the opposition, and he looks strong. Are you going to send him back out for the 6th, knowing that that's where it falls off? But he's looked strong through 5.
Are you? This is what do I tell you? Now we're back to the manager list, the manager's decision lists that I've told you all about. The one that goes by the book that keeps me my job, the one that could turn me into a hero or lose me my job. Do you want to? I mean, that's basically whoever's managing. They have to put their trust in Jacob DeGrom at that moment.
But how do you not? Like, we're talking about maybe the best pitcher that we've ever seen.
But if you fancy yourself a numbers individual, and if you think that using numbers and data is how you're going to make educated decisions,
Buck ain't no fucking analytical nerd. He ain't.
Time out. That doesn't. This is. I love this conversation because this is where we get into front offices either buying all the way into their shit or at some point in time understanding, at some point in time acquiescing and realizing the game feel that actually does matter. And you know what? I don't have that. I might have Harvard or Yale or Dartmouth under my belt, but I don't have big league time under my belt. I don't have the experience in that moment under my belt. But what I do have are baseball people that actually have that. So I'm going to give them some information and some data, and I'm going to let them from there make an educated decision based on what's unfolding on the field. I've prepared them data-wise. From there, let them do it. And that's where you would say Jacob DeGrom gives up that leadoff homer, Jared, in the 6th inning to start things off. And you're now down 1-0. You're losing 1-0. 1-0 Mets. You almost look at each other, right? And go, well, what the fuck? You told me he was feeling good. You told me you liked his shit. And your response is, look great. I mean, just punch punched 2 out of the 3 last guys out with 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. Yeah, he looked fucking great. Well, look at the numbers. What are the numbers? What does all this data tells us? It tells us that when he goes back out there in this moment, this is when this happens. So what were you thinking wasn't going to happen? How many times have we seen him in the 5th inning looking real sexy and then come back out and get into trouble, insurmountable trouble, because for whatever reason, we just refuse to hit baseballs when DeGrom pitches.
Wouldn't
Wouldn't
you think that the approach would be a little bit different in October? Like,
Yes.
if it were a regular season game,
everything.
whatever,
Give
it's like,
me
all right,
everything.
you look at the data and you're like, all right, yeah, we're not going to roll him back out there. In the postseason, you're probably asking, you know what the data is, but you're probably asking yourself the question, is Jacob DeGrom at 65% better than that reliever that we're about to pick up the phone and get hot?
Well, it's not a matter of Jacob DeGrom being at 65%. It's a matter of Jacob DeGrom being at whatever percentage he's at in that moment. Historically and statistically, the numbers tell us that this isn't the moments he shines, whether it's in the postseason in this stage of the game or the regular season at this stage of the game. This just typically isn't when things go well for him. So do we want to throw all of that out the window because it's October and maybe this is where we get over things? That's a hell of a roll of the dice, but scared money don't make fucking money. And if Jacob
Because I think
DeGrom
this is more of a
is
Buck
at
question
62
than a
pitches,
DeGrom question.
Well, DeGrom's going to tell you to give me the ball. What the fuck? What are we talking about? Next question. That was easy. Let's go to Buck Showalter. What does Buck do? Well, Buck's recent history and track record would tell you that, maybe there are some conversations he needs to have with people. Maybe he's willing to just say, no, I'm going to roll my dice. Like, are people over the Britton thing?
No. now that you mention it, no. I wouldn't be. How could you be? I mean, are you gun shy now if you're Buck?
I don't know.
That's
Tough.
a pretty
I don't wanna say
crazy thing to have happen. That for as
Well-
great and as legendary as his resume is, and I love Buck, that's a tough one to have on there.
Yeah. But that's why part of me wants to think that maybe there's other issues that we'll just never know about that led to the decision or lack of decision, however you want to look at it.
Fucking, we're riding Ubaldo Jimenez until the wheels fall off. We got maybe not even maybe. We have one of the greatest single seasons for a reliever ever. But I'll be damned if we don't go down with Ubaldo. And we did.
You did.
They haven't recovered since.